see. Let's see. Does that help at all, Shelley?
I see. Sorry, my dog is like licking all my hands, so a little extra right now. Okay.
There you go.
So this is the same presentation that I gave to City Council a couple of months ago, explaining what it means to be a Bee City USA affiliate. So I'll just kind of go through it and then talk specifically about how we are envisioning kind of the Parks and Trails Advisory Board getting involved. So usually when we think about pollinators, we think about honeybees, but there's lots of different pollinator species. There's over 2,000 native bees in Oregon alone, as well as butterflies, moths, and hummingbirds. And they are incredibly important to our food systems, environmental quality, and economic growth. From the Xerces Society, which is a nonprofit organization that works to protect invertebrates, they've estimated that 1 out of every 3 bites of food that we eat come from pollinators. So they are incredibly important to our food systems and to the quality of the world that we live in. But there are increasingly declining populations of a lot of pollinator species. A couple of the studies that I read, one of them found that there are 25% fewer bee species that were observed between 2006 and 2015 than before 1990. So the number of bees that existed, the number of bee species that existed before 1990, cut 25% out of that, and that's what was observed between 2006 and 2015. And then every year, a bunch of volunteers count monarch butterflies in specific places along the California coast. In 2020, I forgot how many butterflies it was, but there were 20,000 fewer monarch butterflies on the coast between 2020 and 2021. And there are a number of factors that contribute to declining populations of pollinators. A big one is habitat loss. A lot of that is due to, a changing climate, to urban sprawl, a lot of diseases that get passed among pollinator species, and then also pesticide use plays a major role as well. This was a project that Whole Foods, I forgot where in the United States, but Whole Foods did a couple of years ago, where they removed all of the produce from their produce section that comes from, or that is there because of pollinator species. And as you can see, it's a pretty significant amount of produce that we rely on pollinators for. But the solution is really really the principle of thinking globally and acting locally. So we can enact policy and incentives to encourage pollinator-friendly practices at the local scale. This includes using native plant species on city land and encouraging native plant species in private land, using integrated pest management practices, which I know you guys put together an IPM report very recently, using public policy support to support pollinator-friendly habitat development, and as well as public outreach and resources and education. And all of that we can do through being a Bee City USA affiliate. So Bee City USA is an initiative of the Xerces Society. It's very similar to Tree City USA, which Sandy is a tree city, except it focuses specifically on pollinators. So there are 11, now 12 affiliate cities in Oregon. We are the 12th. And there's a few requirements. One is to have a standing Bee City committee, a commitment to enhance pollinator habitat on public land, adopting an integrated pest management plan, creating public policy that supports pollinator species, practicing public outreach, passing a council resolution, and paying an annual fee. So we became a Bee City back in May, is when council formally adopted the resolution naming Sandy as a Bee City USA affiliate. We kind of have our committee going. We've decided to meet quarterly, so our next meeting is going to be in September, which we figured would be a good time since people are back from summer vacation and kind of getting back into the swing of things. But something that I'm really interested in working with the Parks and Trails Advisory Board on is this enhancing pollinator habitat. I would love to see pollinator gardens in city parks, and they would be designated gardens. So there would be, you know, some kind of signage notifying park goers that it's a pollinator garden. It could include some kind of educational piece about why pollinator gardens are important. And I really think getting the Parks and Trails Board on board with that would be incredibly beneficial to help meet these goals. So there's some benefits to Sandy, of course. Enhanced biodiversity is one of the big ones. Enhancing biodiversity is actually one of City Council's biennium goals. So this fits right into what City Council has as far as goal setting goes. We get expert pollinator conservation support through the Xerces Society. So they're always there to answer our questions, provide resources. When I showed up to work on Monday, I had this giant package waiting for me from Xerces, and they sent me a whole bunch of books for free on supporting pollinator species, specifically through pollinator-friendly habitat. It gives us resources to help us manage our pesticide use. And it's also an opportunity for community building. Councillor Exner and I have a lot of ideas for how we can do some public outreach, how we can do some education, and really build community through this process. Most recently, we worked with the middle school with a couple of science teachers who were teaching a unit on pollinators near the end of the year. And they had their 8th grade students come up with projects that the city could adopt. And so we're in the process of going through those projects and figuring out, you know, what does the city have the capacity to do, and what of those projects work for us. Yeah, so again, you know, I'm just really interested in having Parks and Trails support on this, whatever capacity you guys have to get involved, whether it's helping us figure out where in parks we could have designated pollinator gardens or any other projects that you think would be a good fit for this. And then also helping us with the education and outreach piece. We're still kind of in the beginning stages of getting going with all of this. But yeah, do you guys have any questions about what it means to be a Big City USA affiliate, or any of the work that we're doing on that?
I think it's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm still reading through the 8th grade papers that you gave me, and
Oh yeah.
some of these kids are so bright.
Yeah, they have some fantastic ideas.
Yeah.
And really
That's
good
great.
research too. Yeah.
I personally think of pollinator gardens are wonderful ideas to put in the parks. I think that they belong there. I think it shows our commitment. I think that we have some work to do to get everything fully up to snuff. I think that our pesticide plan is pretty basic, and I would question whether it would really qualify to be an IPM, an integrated pest management plan at this point. It's more of a dealing with the not using the pesticides, as opposed to the other chapter, which is talking about what to do instead. And I think that that's a piece that we would need to be responsible for working to develop along with our staff people, to make sure that not only are we saying the right words, but we're doing the right actions too.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that that's a good idea. I'm extremely happy to hear the council is supportive of this. I think that that's critical at this phase, and will help us help give us the impetus to move forward with kind of reworking some of our pest management plans so that it becomes more of an integrated pest management plan.
Yeah, with that pest management plan, I was talking to my contact at Xerces to see, you know, if they had some kind of standards or requirements for what an integrated pest management plan needs to include. And she said that they don't really have a set of standards. It's more so the city, the affiliate, deciding, does this work for our jurisdiction? Does this meet the needs that we have? So I agree that, parts of it can definitely be fleshed out, whether that's something we want to do in-house or see if we could get some money from council to, hire a consultant. That's still kind of in the works. But yeah.
I think that's something that we can do in-house. I don't see the need for a consultant. I've
Okay.
been involved with enough of them that I have a pretty good handle on what.
Okay.
we
Great.
might-
Yeah, lots of good examples out there,
Yeah.
Yep,
And with this, I was
well,
just gonna say the one that we did, the Parks Board did was really meant to just be a starting point.
just an introduction to kind of get the staff used to thinking in a little different way.
Mhm.
And now we need to just kind of take that next little step forward to
Yeah.
kind of bring it home a little bit. And I think we can do that.
Yeah. One of the projects where obviously there isn't much planting we can do at this point in the year. And so we're kind of saving all of that for, late spring, early summer next year. But we're really focusing now on like education and outreach. So I'm putting together resources. The city's website is going to have a page under the community tab about pollinators. And so it's going to have resources like a native plant species list. It's going to have contact information of local nurseries that sell native plant species. I've been working on compiling a list of local beekeepers who can come get swarms. So it's going to have a lot of information, a lot of resources for residents of Sandy and surrounding areas too.
Shelley, have you talked to Joe Preston yet at all? Have you looped him in?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm actually
Okay.
working with him on getting our first project is getting that raised bed in front of City Hall to be a designated pollinator garden.
Nice,
Yeah, I'm
nice.
working with Joe, and then we have not a consultant, someone we've hired out, we've contracted with to actually do the planting in that raised bed, and so we're working with them to make sure that whatever goes in there in the future is going to be specifically pollinator friendly.
That's great.
It'd be nice if we could find somebody to maybe do some classes through the rec programs to
Yeah.
help people learn
Send him my
how
way.
to do gardens in their own
I'm
backyard.
doing one in my backyard.
Yeah. Or even like at Garen's, if they wanted to do a pollinator gardening class or even a beekeeping class at Garen's.
Yep, we got our little mason bees going in our backyard. So
Yeah.
it's not difficult.
Yeah, Shelley, we should connect on that because like sometime maybe early to midwinter, we should see if we might be able to offer something like that as people get ready to plant. Be great to be able to roll that out.
Wilsonville, I was talking to their natural resources coordinator.
Mhm.
Wilsonville is also a Bee City affiliate. And so I was talking to him about some of the projects that they've done. And they have a pollinator coupon program where they've
So
partnered
cool.
with local nurseries. And the city has paid the nurseries up front for coupons. And then they give the coupons out to residents, and residents can trade in those coupons for free pollinator friendly native plant species to put in their own gardens. So yeah, Carl and I are looking at the feasibility and the cost of doing something like that in the spring. Yeah, there's lots of really exciting stuff that we want to work on. It just all kind of comes down to how much it costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if it takes a while to get some of those things funded, just the education piece, I think there's a lot of people very interested in helping the pollinators, and having readily, available information that's easy to find is great to start.
I think that sounds terrific. I think maybe we'll need to schedule this for a future meeting to actually be able to entertain a motion to endorse it formally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll definitely reach back out. I'm going to be reaching out pretty frequently on our Bee City projects, but I'll make sure once we get a date settled in September for our next committee meeting of making sure you guys know well in advance. So if you're able to make them.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Shelley.
Cool. All
Thanks,
right.
Shelley.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Carol, tell us everything we need to know about pickleball.
I can tell you, very high. I don't think I've met you, but I know Dawn, and hopefully you got the invite. There's the ribbon cutting this Saturday, and you guys should have some paperwork. Kind of gave you the background about pickleball and how it started and all that.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, before COVID, I reached out to the Oregon Trail School District. And do you remember Sam, Don, who was on the Parks
I
Board?
do.
Sam Schroer. So he and I met, actually, I think we met before he was on the Parks, and then kind of Sarah and I kind of talked to him and got him on the Parks Board.
Okay.
I met him at the athletic club, and he was playing pickleball, and we were talking, and he knew that I worked for the city. And we just kind of got together and said, you know, what do you think we can do to get courts in Sandy? So I kind of came up with the idea, you know, talking to the school district. So right now, you know, like I said, we started a couple years ago, and the plan was Cedar Ridge, the old high school, there used to be tennis courts. So right now it is 4 square and basketball courts. So the district allowed us to put 2 courts there. We could possibly do 4, but right now we have 2. And you know, the school district is kind of funny because there's a lot of restrictions.
Yeah.
Right now we're able to play. They did not want permanent paint, so I had to get semi-permanent paint. And then I had to get volunteers to paint the lines. And there's a couple days, there's some camps going on that Sarah has, and then there's some other activities that the school is doing in the morning. So there's a couple dates, you know, maybe a couple weeks that, you know, people can't play, but it's mostly like in the morning. So in the afternoons and weekends we can play. But when school starts, we're going to be very limited. No one can play pickleball when school is in session. And I don't know what it's going to be like after school, so the afternoons and on the weekends. But my goal was to get 2 courts. This is kind of like the stepping stone. And the other motive was to do this ribbon cutting. We didn't need to do a ribbon cutting because, you know, you could do press releases, it could be on the city website, social media, just let everybody know, hey, we got 2 pickleball courts, anybody want to play, come play. But my motive was to do a ribbon cutting and to invite the Parks Board and to invite council to let them be aware of how many people in this community play pickleball. Also, let them know how many people want to know about pickleball and learn and realize, you know what, this is something that anybody can do, kids, family, the active older adults. And I'm going to tell you, there's a big group of people that play. So that's my motive. So and I kind of, you know, wrote down like the dimensions of the pickleball court, what we need. So Saturday, I have a couple maps that I had Thomas print off, and one is Deer Point for the parks. The other one was Ponder Lane, but I don't think Ponder Lane is big enough. And then Sandy Community Campus. But I was kind of talking to David from Economic Development, and he, you know, we were talking, and actually Kelly today, and I kind of want to steer away from the campus because I feel like that's going to take some time. And, you know, I'm one to, when I have my mindset, I kind of push forward, and, you know, my goal is to hopefully find a park, city park, to get at least four pickleball courts and permanent nets. So at Cedar Ridge, people have to get on the city website and become a member. It's a membership. And it's $15 if you're a resident. It's $20 if you're a non-resident. And it's, people get on, they register now, and it's good through this year, so the end of December. Okay, come January, I have to go back and talk to the school district, because right now the school district is charging me a flat $100 right now till the end of December. Okay, what's going to happen January, February? I mean, the weather's bad, but there are times that we'll have some good weather and people can go play, but it's based on the availability. So I have to negotiate with the school district to see, what that fee is going to be. And that's why I really want to try to get it on Parks land. There won't be as many restrictions. And the other thing is we'll have, hopefully have permanent nets, and, the benefits of pickleball. I mean, I don't know if you know, but it has expanded. It's like explosive. So many people are playing. I'll say, 1 year, my family and I just went to Hood River, and there was like this pump track, and we brought the bikes, and then we knew that there was pickleball courts. So we brought our paddles, nets, and bikes, and the kids biked around. We did that for about a half hour. Then the nets were there, and we just played pickleball. So the kids, it's very family oriented. The other thing is, when we look at this, to have at least 4 courts, these people who are so into pickleball, they travel. People will come to Sandy to play. We can have tournaments, we can have clinics, the rec program, we can have classes. It's endless of what we can do. And what I'm looking for is to have the Parks Board support this, and have council support this, and see what we need to do to look at the most appropriate park to get some of these courts in. And I know the Parks Master Plan is almost complete and signed off, and I know there's different ideas of some of these parks, but I really believe that we can put some courts in one of these parks. And I'm willing to do anything to get this going. I can get the community backed up if we need to raise money, writing grants. And I will say tourism I've had experience with some grant tourism, because some of the events that I do deals with tourism. I do these bike races, and people come from all over. They come from Bend, they come from Klamath Falls. They do these races, they stay at the hotels for the weekend. And something like this is definitely, we can get a grant. So that's my spiel. I'm hoping, were you both planning on coming on Saturday?
I am planning on coming on Saturday. We've had a couple of family issues come up, but I still am on board for Saturday.
Okay.
Let me ask a quick question. You're using temporary fencing over at the school right now?
Yeah, it's already there. It's fenced. You mean the nets?
Yeah.
It is. So I bought a metal box, and just so that everything that I had to get, the nets, the paddles, the paint, rollers, all the equipment, everything was, I got sponsorships. So the city did not have to pay a dime. And I'm still getting money for this event on Saturday, but I'm really disappointed because I have to get a porta potty. And I tried to get a discount, and I can't get a discount, but I really feel like I need to get a porta potty for the 3 hours. So part of that money that was donated, unfortunately, I have to put that towards a porta potty. So the nets are in the storage bin, and when people register for their membership, they get a code, which is the code to get into the metal box. You know, it's like a padlock thing.
Right, right.
And then they pull out the net, and then I have laminated directions on how to put the net together. And there's
We did-
paddles and balls.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing down in Lithia Park in Ashland.
Okay.
We put a big steel box out there, weatherproof. and
Yeah.
people could call up and check out the code.
Yeah.
And it was on tennis courts, and we just painted the pickleball courts right on top of the tennis courts also.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the tennis court the net stayed up, but they could set up the pickleball courts, you know, one on either side of the net.
I see.
And
Yeah.
so each court held 2 pickleball courts.
Hmm.
And that worked out pretty well. Then we ended up having to do designated hours because, you know, there were a lot of tennis players down there. And so
Yep.
they'd get a little chippy about it every once in a while, but generally it worked really, really well. And, you know, if we can't find permanent courts, maybe we could do something similar to that.
Mhm.
I know that the little park, can't think of the name of it, it's over just north of DeBarco, has a little basketball.
Strawbridge. Strawbridge.
Strawbridge.
Oh, Pepper.
No,
Pepper, yes.
you're thinking Timberline Trails, I think is what Don's thinking, where the basketball court is there.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, right there at the basketball court. There's no reason why we couldn't paint a pickleball court right on top of that too. And
Yeah.
the box and
Yeah. Well, Don,
We-
you know, I'm kind of thinking big here. I want to
Yeah.
think the big picture first, start from there and then work my way down. And the reason why I want to think big is because I really see if we have at least 4 courts, you know, at one park, the stuff that we can do, and I'm going to tell you with council, you know, they're all about what can we do for programs? What can we do for events to bring people into the city?
sure.
And if we have 4 courts, we will have some tournaments, you know. We will also go down to the recreation part and be able to teach some beginning clinics and have some camps. It could be part of the camps, you know.
I do think Deer Point's a possibility, especially if we get the adjacent land and that park will be double the size. I think there's some potential there.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that has to go out to the public.
Yes, it does. But that's okay because I think this is the kind of activity that's healthy and wholesome. It's not overly loud. It's
Yeah.
positive for people. Like Carol said, everybody can play it.
Mhm.
It's not like
Yeah.
a real narrow slice of our community. It's
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Even Bornstead Park would probably be good.
Yeah, right now we have a future basketball court planned for Bornstead.
Okay.
But maybe
And a gazebo.
maybe it could be incorporated in that area. So
Yeah.
goodness,
So,
And they're,
goodness knows there's plenty of people that go to Bornstead, and it'd be nice to have something for maybe mom and dad to do too.
Yeah.
and there will be dedicated parking there as part of the master plan there too.
And that's helpful.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. So I think like for Saturday, you know, part of the reason is for you to be there and council. I mean, I think what's going to happen is the people that are, you know, really trying to push this, you know, they're going to come and talk to you and
Good.
they're going to say, you know, what do we need to do? You know, what do we have to do? And, you know, I want direction. You know, I hate to put out another survey because I think everyone's so tired of these surveys, but, you know, I don't know how many people will show up Saturday. I mean, I'm kind of planning like about 50 people. I will say that someone saw the post on social media. I don't know if you know Dulcie Linzo, Sarah. She lives up in Welch's. She's the one that does the pottery, Dulcie.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyway, her father, who's 92, just moved here from Virginia. And she sent me an email last night and said, oh my gosh, my father just moved here from Virginia. He's 92. He used to be a very avid tennis player, but He stopped playing, I don't know, when he was 80 because he was having a bum shoulder. And now he's playing pickleball. And he ended up in the like Virginia State Championship, you know, in his age bracket. I want to
That's
say
great.
90. It was 2 years ago. And he's excited. You know, he's like, oh my God, you know, ribbon cutting, pickleball court. So I emailed her back and I said, listen, have your dad come and have him wear that medal around his neck. Because I want people to see, you know, this guy, hey, 90 years old, he was playing pickleball.
You're never too.
We've also had a couple calls to the rec department. People who were coming in from out of town, staying on the mountain, wanted to know if there was a place to play. So I think Carol's point about also the economic benefit to the city has real potential. You know, come down, play pickleball, stop and have dinner. You know, I think there's a lot of positives.
Well, very good. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah.
I am too. And I didn't hear you, Mary. Were you able to come?
I'm trying to come. Is it 11
It's
to
from 9 to
1
noon.
or
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
to noon? Okay.
And, you know, the plan is at 9 o'clock, I'll probably speak a little bit. I'm going to probably have all, I don't know if I should call the dignitaries, you know, the council and parks board to have everybody have name tags. So the community knows who's who. And just kind of do a little bit of background about the courts and the goals of where we want to go next. And then, like I said, I'm going to have a couple easels with the maps of the parks. And they're kind of like 2x3. They're large enough so people can actually see them. And then we'll do the ribbon cutting. I'm going to have food, you know, coffee, juice, muffins, bagels, you know, kind of breakfast stuff and some fresh fruit. And then I'm going to have a couple clinics going. And I actually have one guy that contacted me, and he's a vendor, a pickleball vendor, and he's bringing his apparel, pickleball,
Nice.
the balls, shoes, and all that. And actually, I was kind of like, I didn't really want to. But you know what? When I think about it, it kind of makes it more kind of professional. You know, like, hey, you know, this is pickleball. And if people have questions about
Equipment.
paddles and stuff like that, he's there. And then I asked him to raffle off a racket, but he said, he kind of laughed and he says, well, you know, my rackets kind of start about $100 and they go up. So I said, well, that's up to you, but he's going to raffle off some other stuff. And then that money will be kind of our seed money, you know, for the new courts, hopefully.
That's good.
So that's it.
Well, I am looking forward to it. It sounds like a wonderful event.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys being there and being open to this.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Carol, thank you so much.
And, yes. Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Good night. All righty, Sarah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the dog park thing?
Yeah, I'll make
What do you
it
wanna
pretty
say?
quick. Well, I think it'd be nice to know, just the two of you, you know, based on the staff report, if maybe I could go forward. This person lives across the street from the dog park. You know, they really want to do these benches. I think these are needed benches, not just something that we would be adding for no reason. You know, I'd hate to put it off because it's a good time of year to get those kind of projects done. But you know, at another meeting, I would like to talk to the board about just a policy regarding these types of things in parks in general. Dawn and I spoke about it a little bit. And, you know, we don't get a lot of requests right now, but down the road we may. And I think we want to have some sort of policy in place to handle these type of requests. And I spoke to Nancy Anabnett, the previous community services director before Tanya. And apparently there was something that the parks did at one point. I just haven't been able to locate it. I've looked in all the files nobody seems to know where that file is. So there was.
I know
there-
there's one in Meinig Park. Shannon Montgomery's mother's
Mhm.
memorial is there.
Yeah, there's quite a few memorial benches there, but they had a
Yeah.
program in place and a brochure, but that spoke specifically to benches. But I think we want to look at providing some other suggestions to people so that, as Dawn said, we don't end up with, 100 memorial benches in a park.
Yeah,
And
hers is a bust on a cement rock.
Hmm.
They put it on that. So anyway, I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. Well, I think we can have that discussion when we have a fuller meeting.
Yeah.
But with, if you two are okay with me going forward with the dog park benches, I'd like to do that.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will revisit this on a larger scale down the road.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I think that concludes our agenda as we can do tonight.
Yeah, thank you both.
I think we'll